wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Welcome to our second session of webinar series Captain of Industry, organized by Faculty of Engineering UTM. We are welcome to our UTM staff to attend our session, to attend our webinar today, and also our students. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today we are streaming live from Facebook Faculty of Engineering UTM. With us today yang berbahagia Dato Dr. Engineer Muhammad Abdul Karim Abdullah, Group Managing Director and Group CEO, Serba Dinamik Holdings Berhad. And with his topic for today, Pride of Being a UTM Graduate. Thank you, Dato, for your time, for your precious time with us. And without further ado, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Dato Dekan for our next agenda. And before that, please like, comment, and share our Facebook live streaming for today. Over to you, Dato.
Thank you, Murni. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To our honorable speaker, Dato Karim, and all of you joining us live from Facebook Faculty of Engineering UTM. Indeed, we are honored today to have someone with vast experience in industry, about close to 30 years in industry, as our speaker for the Captains of Industry webinar series. A brief introduction about our esteemed speaker today. Dato Karim is the Group Managing Director and Group Chief Executive Officer of Serba Dinamik Holdings Berhad. He holds a Bachelor in Mechanical Engineering from University Technology Malaysia. He obtained an honorary PhD in Industrial Engineering from Inter-American University, USA in 2009. And a PhD in Entrepreneurship from Golden State University, USA in 2012. He is a member of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia since 1994, a registered member of the Board of Engineers Malaysia since 1996, and a member of the Asian Federation of Engineering Organization since 2002. Dato Karim's achievements are evidenced by the various recognitions and awards, of which among others include the Golden Eagle Award 2015, Top 3 Eminent Eagle for Malaysia, International Finance Magazine Awards 2015, Best Investor Relations and Best Corporate Governance, the Brand Laureate SME's Best Brands Award, President's Award Services 2016, the Green Era Award for Sustainability 2016, the President of Association Otherways Management and Consulting France, PGB CEO Contractors Forum Award 2016, Exceptional Performance in Maintenance Services, Gas Processing and Utilities, and Excellent Secretariat Entrepreneur Award 2016, Achievements for the category of Special Achiever. On 30th December 2016, Dato Karim led a team of experienced professionals successfully secured Securities Commission's approval to list the company on Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad with market capitalization exceeding 2 billion ringgit. The listing ceremony of the IPO on 8th February 2017 was the largest in Malaysia for 2016. Dato Karim, we are indeed honored to have you with us today. And without further ado, I'll call upon Dato Karim to give his speech. Over to you, Dato.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Firstly, Dato Professor Muhammad Rafiq, thank you so much for your introduction. And I'm honored to be invited back to UTM. And of course, when this invitation was being forwarded to me, I stopped and gave a deep breath and was thinking, what am I to talk today? And of course, as what Dato Professor Rafiq has mentioned, the topic of today is the pride of being a UTM graduate. I would just put forward some of my thoughts and my thinking for the next 30 minutes. And after that, I strongly believe that it will be more beneficial if we open up for a question and answer. Firstly, I choose this topic because I strongly believe that UTM given me a very strong foundation, and UTM has given me a very good training ground to transform into what I have done after my graduation, and of course to what I've achieved in my career over the past more than 30 years already. So I will break out the presentations into three parts. The part one will be more of the experience that I've gone through during my university life, and then from there I will touch on the career journey that I've gone through for the past more than 30 years, and of course I will end up with some forward-looking statements to share, and also to open up for further debate if there are participants who are having a different view of what I will be going to present. I was asked to actually combine the presentations in Bahasa Malaysia together if some of the terminology cannot be changed, so I'm allowed to use English. But I would like to actually share a very unique experience. When I graduated from UTM, I could not really converse in English very fluently because for all my 5 years in UTM, I've been trained to speak in Bahasa Malaysia, and in a lot of events is conversed in Bahasa Malaysia. So when I graduated and I entered into the career world working for one of the Petronas subsidiary by the name of Mohd, I had difficulty to put messages through in meeting because everything is in English. But time goes by because of the environment and it being forced to speak in English. So it's the other way around now. If I would speak in Bahasa Malaysia, I would sometimes have difficulty and try to grab for words to complete a sentence. So whatever it is, I think I set this as a challenge, and I will try my very best to put forward the message which I would like to put forward to this afternoon. Firstly, I would say that when I enter a UTM, kita datang daripada suatu tempat yang dikenali sebagai fishing village, and that place is more or less quite near to the area which I work with after my graduation, which is Bintulu. But to cut the story short, I feel that UTM has given me a very good training, education background from the following perspective. Number one, when I entered UTM, there are a lot of things which I thought is a purely technical engineering university. But of course, there are layman talk who said UTM is also referring to untuk Tuhan dan manusia. And I will say that the Naik Chancellor pada masa itu, Tan Sri Aminuddin Arwah, telah meletakkan satu asas yang amat kukuh supaya pelajar-pelajar yang keluar daripada UTM ini bukanlah sekadar graduat teknokrat, tetapi mereka juga merupakan graduan teknokrat yang mempunyai disiplin, pendirian dan juga kepercayaan yang kuat kepada konsep ubudiah kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. So this is something which I would say that I appreciate a lot, because I was feeling quite frustrated in the context that is allowable, kekecewaan yang boleh dibenarkan, ya. Sebab rakan-rakan saya telah mendapat kelulusan dan dapat melanjutkan pelajaran mereka ke institusi yang lebih ternama di seberang laut, overseas university. But here I was being accepted into UTM. But I will say now that I'm very, very pleased that I graduated from UTM. The reasons is, number one, what UTM has taught me is, as a technocrat, you have a very important responsibility to the creator. Maknanya, kita mempunyai satu tanggungjawab yang amat besar kepada pencipta kita, iaitu dalam konteks orang yang mempercayai agama Islam kepada Allah yang Maha Berkuasa. Dan juga di dalam pembelajaran di tahun pertama dan kedua, telah diletakkan satu asas konsep ibadah dalam Islam yang cukup syumul, a very holistic view of Islam as a way of life, and it basically categorized it very nicely into pengamalan umumiah dan juga khususiah. So it basically struck my mind that agama Islam ni memberikan suatu kelengkapan yang amat cantik, bukan sekadar kita ni mendapat pahala jika kita mengerjakan kerja-kerja ataupun amal ibadat fardu ain ataupun fardu kifayah. Tapi apa-apa pengamalan yang kita niatkan adalah atas dasar untuk mencari keredaan Allah, ianya juga diterima sebagai ibadah. So what it means here is 24/7 across the entire year of 365 days is the concept, understanding and the niyat, the nawaitu is correct, then you will be blessed with everything which will be given certain contributions or rewards from Allah in terms of pahala. So saya rasa bahawa ini merupakan suatu pendapat yang cukup menutup ke kalbu saya, dan ianya menjadikan suatu pengamalan sehingga kepada hari ini, ya. Dan kalau kita lihat antara kata-kata daripada pensyarah-pensyarah yang masih kuat pegangan dia adalah pengamalan solat itu adalah sesuatu yang wajib. Sesiapa yang meninggalkan solat, ini akan menjatuhkan ke dalam tahap kekufuran, dan amalan solat yang diterima hendaklah mempunyai kekuatan inna solata tanha anil fahsya'i wa munkar, bahwasanya setiap solat itu akan mencegah seseorang itu daripada perbuatan fahsya' dan juga perbuatan yang mungkar. Jadi kata-kata begini dan pendidikan yang begitu kuat menusuk di dalam ingatan sehinggalah kepada hari ini, dan ianya mempunyai suatu makna yang amat besar di dalam the career development that I would like to share with everyone. And it is a universal acceptance regardless of what the community comprises of, whether they are believer or non-believer. These fundamentals has been so attractive and has gained a lot of trust from the investor, which Serba Dinamik has been pursuing for the past few years. So I will touch on that short. And from other aspect, of course, when it entered into third year until the fifth year, very much focused into technical knowledge, engineering knowledge, practical and so on. So yang tu bagi saya memang wujud di semua universiti, regardless whether it is a local university or overseas university. So, apa yang orang kata UTM ni untuk Tuhan dan manusia ni ada kebenaran dia. Isi kandungan pendidikan yang telah ia kedepankan untuk setiap pelajar. And I also like to share here that when I was in UTM, after college dan universiti masih berkuat kuasa, but again during that time, regardless of the implementations of AUKU, the students are also still very active because they still have the belief that mahasiswa itu adalah juru bicara ummah. That is the terminology used during that time. And I was involved quite actively in quite a number of students' activities. And I would say that those activities are very beneficial to me because it helps me to improve my communication capability with different strata of the community. And it also gives real training ground to practice the concept of planning, merancang. Yeah? The planning ability is very, very important. And the other component which I really feel that has helped me a lot from all these student activities is the positioning strategy that is required for every leader. Yeah? Whether it is industrial leaders or whether it is political leaders or whether it is NGO leaders and so on and so forth. Positioning strategy is very important, and all these are being practiced in real practical sense in UTM. So here am I when I've gone through all those processes, and now after graduating in 1989, then I to a real world that I'm facing. So part of it is what I mentioned just now, communications in the industry. Majority is conversed in English because it's a technical engineering environment and group that I'm facing. And of course, for the first few months and so on, it's facing difficulty, but after that, it's coming to normal and was able to go on to be able to interact and carry out all the necessary things that is required. So when I left UTM with the fundamentals that I've mentioned just now, I joined Petronas and worked with one of the subsidiary Petronas in Bintulu, Sarawak. And I would say that I was there for 4.5 years. Then I decided to resign and set up one of the Dinamik group today by the name of Serba India Berhad. And why I left Petronas is again going back to the reality that I have internal habit or attitude that I would like to see things in motion. Meaning to say that I've learned so much theory in UTM, and talking about the fluid dynamics is a subject that everybody is very afraid of. Together with our beloved lecturer, Dr. Nujib, still masih ingat lagi nama dia, semua orang takut because he is very fierce, and there is so much that we have learned in terms of the theory and so on. The practicality part of it in the actual engineering industrial application was not being appreciated, or I can't really implement all those theories that I've learned in the university. Because Petronas is a national oil company and the caretaker of the petroleum reserves in Malaysia. Though now there is some debate from other states, but we are not going into that debate. And A lot of the things, graduates, engineers, and so on, we will be involved in too much meeting, planning, but not so much into the actual hands-on practical engineering of what the technicians and other contractors at engineer levels and so on are doing. So because of that, I make a decision in a good way to resign from Petronas and set up this Serba Dinamik group. So from a very young age of 28 years old, I started off my own journey as an entrepreneur. And of course, there are lots of criticisms, skepticisms, and so on. But I would say that those are history already. And I was taken back when I started the business because one of the things is the local industry does not look highly onto local technical capabilities. I was trained as an engineer, more on the maintenance of rotating equipment. So when we talk about maintenance of rotating equipment, it's talking about turbines, the steam turbine, the gas turbine, turbo machinery, and other turbo equipment, which are quite high-tech in nature. So it's a local engineer who resigned and set up a company claiming that we can do all these overhauls of steam turbine and so on and so forth. It does not get the buy-in. So it's very, very tough. And I will say that this is where my experience in students' activities of, I would say, the strategic positioning, what needs to be done, strategic planning, what needs to work out so that we can push ourselves to be accepted by the targeted customer that we are looking at. So the rest are history, I would say. Here we are a company today which is recognized not only domestic in Malaysia, and at the starting of 2 billion market capitalizations, when first day we got listed onto the stock exchange of Bursa Malaysia. Today we have approximately around double up the market capitalization, 5 billion ringgit Malaysia. Before the market collapse, we have achieved up to something like 6 billion, more than 6 billion ringgit Malaysia market capitalization. I'm not here to boast and be proud of those figures and so on. The point that I want to make here is, from a very humble beginning, and based on the experience and the knowledge that UTM has given me, has helped me to push myself and my team together into the domestic market, into the international market, to where we are today. We are present in 25 countries in 6 regions globally. So it's a big coverage, and I will say that based on this, we are in a better position to mitigate global recessions. That's what is happening now. And we have also widened our service capability into 4 core competencies, namely the operation and maintenance, the EPCC, which is referring to engineering, procurement, construction, and commissioning. We have embarked and positioned ourselves very strongly into IT solutions. And one of the IT solutions, frontier technology inside there, is what people name it as IR, or Industrial Revolution 4.0. And in fact, we have a research team which is looking into how can we upgrade and position ourselves to tie up with what is going on at the moment. People are heading into Industrial Revolution 5.0. So on top of that, early this year, Serba Dinamik has also able to acquire boutique University Malaysia of Computer Science and Engineering. And this university for us is very important because one of the things that my management team and my technical team is very, very interested is to pursue real research and development which are a need to the actual industrial situations of what Serba is having, and of course a lot of other peers which we are in contact with. So I will say that all these are through hard work, and it is through quite a long journey, I would say. And I credit all these things back to the fundamentals and what Institute Technology Malaysia has trained me into. So other than that, will be things like issues when we go out. There will be a few three elements which is very important. Number one, if we want to be a global player and strong domestic, we must have the proven credible track record in what we are offering. Secondly, we must have the in-house technology and capability. And how Serba have this ability and capability is, some of the technology, if we want to develop in-house, it will take a lot of time to do it. So what we have done is we embarked onto a merger and acquisition journey. And I would say, Alhamdulillah, through the past 3 years, we have acquired those technology company that is required to help Serba to be able to compete with other international companies. So we have achieved that at the moment. We are nurturing and we are building and investing into other infrastructure, what we call it the center excellence in different strategic locations. In fact, one of the very big investment that we have put in is in the Pengerang, the rapid area, to serve the entire investment which Petronas and the partners have put in the investment. So the third thing is very important here, the financial strength and capability. Serba has embarked on quite a number of fundraising exercises, whether it is equity in nature or whether it is in debt in nature. Both are important to balance up so that the gearing ratios will be reasonable and accessible to the industrial perspective. So again, I would like to share here that from an engineer, when I became entrepreneur or usahawan, ilmu-ilmu yang selain daripada engineering juga diperlukan, terutamanya apabila ilmu yang melibatkan ilmu yang berkaitan dengan kewangan. And I think I've studied financial knowledge through hands-on and practicality of the business that I've gone through. And so far, I think I'm doing quite okay in that aspect from the understanding and what the world global standards related to financing is looking at. But one of the very important things that I would like to share here is to garner the trust of the investment community. This is where, going back to the fundamentals that I mentioned just now, the integrity part of it. People say that the power corrupts, but I will say that when you are in a position, high level in corporate organizations, if there is no fear of to the Creator, tidak ada rasa ketakutan kepada Allah, tidak ada rasa rasa keimanan bahawa setiap apa yang dilakukan akan dihisab di akhirat nanti. That is where we find out that a lot of scandals of misuse of funding and so on happen. So I would say that in this context, Serba has a very good record in which whatever we promised to the investor, so far we have managed to deliver it, and the company focus and target, we have managed to also achieve it, and that actually builds up a stronger confidence in all the funding exercise that we have gone through. And I would say that Alhamdulillah, it's not really something that we want to show off. It's just to put on record that we have raised almost up to near to 4 billion ringgit Malaysia over the past 3.5 years. And I would say that this is some of the very good record to be put as a reference to the corporate world. And all this, I would say that is going back to the strong fundamentals and foundations that UTM had trained and given me after my graduation. So that is on the career experience that I've gone through. So the last part, forward-looking statement. I would say that there are a lot of things that we have learned. Banyak ilmu-ilmu pengurusan yang kita telah mempelajari dan banyak juga teori-teori dan konsep yang telah kita lalui melalui kursus-kursus yang dihadiri. Dan I feel that a lot of it now has to relook into it. Why I'm saying this? Kalau kita lihat konsep perancangan, kalau kita melalui kursus-kursus yang kita hadiri, we normally will have long-term planning, we have short-term planning, we have mid-term planning, and so on and so forth. And it is quite normal that people will come up with a 3 years plan, 5 years plan, 10 years plan. But with the existing environment that we are going through, for example, like this pandemic of COVID-19, it comes without any early sign, and everybody is being caught off-ended. Maknanya kita tidak bersedia lagi untuk menghadapi pandemik COVID-19 ini. So what I'm trying to say here is, if we go back to the theory of the economic cycle of 10 years, by right 2020 should have already passed to more than 2 years already, and 2020 should be a very, very good year. But it turned out to be what it is now at the moment. So, ianya merupakan suatu kejutan dan segala teori perancangan long term and so on and so forth, it is very, very difficult now. And kalau kita lihat other challenges that is coming in at the moment, nobody would want to look at the battle for positioning themselves on the economy and political situation between United States of America and also China. And we will see that the latest development, China is launching their digital currency within their internal state. 4 states has been mentioned. And with this, the relevance of perk against the US dollar is no more that required. And if this digital currency is also being accepted by other countries in the world, then there will be a big conflict between the US and also China, plus other countries that is supporting China. And if we look at what is going on, all the Western bloc, which normally ally themselves with US, now is no more of that kind of mentality. We can see that the UK, which is the United Kingdom, which is a very close ally to United States, the Prime Minister has made a very damaging remark and comment on President Trump. So we will see that there are so many things which are unforeseen which is going on, and we are also unclear what will be the directions going to happen in the next few months. With all this pandemic of COVID and so on, coupled up with all this struggle for positioning, I would say that Malaysians and everybody in the world is undergoing a very, very uncertain future. So what I'm trying to say here is, I strongly believe that as successful individuals, besides holding back to the asas pengamalan keagamaan yang kita percaya, kita perlu mengamalkan apa yang guru-guru pengurusan sebutkan sebagai walk the talk. Meaning to say that leaders have to really go down to the ground, talk to everybody, gather the necessary information, then work out strategy and mitigation plans that need to be carried out. Gone are those days, top management, top officers and so on sit in the office waiting for information just by playing forms and so on to get the information. I strongly believe that those days are gone. Everybody has to go down to the ground to take the information as fast as possible so that meeting plans and on. So I would say that what will happen to the education system in the university? I am of the opinion that there must be a serious effort to work out the gap between the academia and the industrial practitioner has to be uh, worked out quickly because before the industry has the perception that university is heading very uh, uh, I would say a very not realistic uh, uh, platform because everything is talking about theory and the applications and the alignment of that theory into the real practical world is still people grabbing to understand. So by reducing down the gap between the academia and also the industry practitioner, this is a subject which is very important. And Serba is a party which is on the other side, which what I'm trying to say is involve ourselves into the industry world. We do really understand what are the lacking and what needs the real R&D team to come in to resolve those issues and to add value to the engineering solutions that we are looking for. So I open it up for further Q&A, and these are my thoughts which I would like to share. And I would say that we are facing a different world at the moment. During my time, we still have very high respect to elderly people. We still have very high respect to people who are more older than us. But if you look at what is going on today, the younger generations does not really buy in the thought and the thinking of the older generations. So that is where we can see the debate ongoing, the millennials, the Gen Y, and then the boomers. Yeah? So macam orang kita ni yang dah masuk above 50 years old are considered as a boomers. So the millennials and also the Gen Y, they have their different way and thought. But whatever it is, I think everybody has their pro and cons, and it has to combine together to strengthen and move forward to become a successful community or a successful nation as a overall. So, Dr. Prof. Rafiq, I think those are some of the thoughts and some of the points that I would like to share. And I would like to pass back the baton back to you to coordinate some questions and answers. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.
Okay. Terima kasih Dato'. Thank you Dato' for your sharing your inspiring experience as UTM alumni with us today. Okay, now I'm open to the floor for any further questions to Yang Berhad Dato'. Okay, hold on. We are going to have the questions at the bottom of the screen. Okay, I have a question from comment. Assalamualaikum Dato' from Nasrah Kamaruzaman. How did you manage to find passion in business, and could you please advise how can we lecture involve actively in solving industrial problem? Can you hear me, Dato'? Is that clear?
Yeah. Okay. For my understanding is the way I look at it is there is still a mistrust between the two components. The industry and also the academia. Because the argument is sometimes what the needs of the industry could not be really understood by the academia. And as a result of that, the academia cannot come up to give a real solution to this industry. And the industry is in a very desperate situation. Desperate in the sense that time is of essence. Masa itu adalah amat penting. And they have to solve the problem so that their KPI, key performance indicator, can be achieved. What it means here is, in terms of efficiency and the productivity, it has to improve and bring the necessary profitability to the company. So because of that, that is why I'm saying that the gap between the academia and also the industry, the practicing industry needs to be narrow, and this needs some organizations to really work this thing out. And I would like to share here that, for example, like IMM, Institute Materials of Malaysia, is moving this kind of understanding. And inside there are academicians, and inside there are industrial practitioners. So both parties are in there and trying to work out the solution. But that is not enough, I would say. It has to go beyond that. So to answer that question is, there must be an element in which the UC quickly come out with some real industrial problems, and use the intellectual brand of all the lecturers and researchers to solve the problem, and use it as a reference to build up the level of confidence in the industrial practicing community. And I would say that this is happening already. For example, like we work with UTM also, Professor Fauzi, in terms of the water management technology. And unfortunately, because of quite a number of changes in the government, the actual conclusions has not been rolled out, but we are still working very hard so that it can be closed up and it can roll out in terms of the practicality, a genuine collaboration between the industry and also the academy. So all these things need to be intensified, and I strongly believe that at the end of the day, we will be able to build up a more credible collaboration between both parties.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dato. Next question from Professor Zaki Kamsa. Tanya Dato, what made you diverging your business from hardcore engineering into fun and entertainment, such as the virtual reality park in Sarawak?
Well, I would say that it is based on the expectations of our shareholder. Like a listed company, we have varieties of shareholders within the company, and the bottom line is the company has to be making sufficient profit so that we can return back in terms of the dividends, in terms of the committed promise that we have put forward to them. So as an organization, every year we are looking at the growth of for Serba Dinamik in the context of Serba Dinamik. We are looking at the growth of 15 to 20%, both top and bottom line. Maknanya in terms of the sales revenue, in terms of profitability, both is in the range of 15 to 20%. 15 to 20%. So for a company of what Serba Dinamik is at the moment, for example, like 2019, we have revenue of Malaysia. 10% of it, meaning to say that is another 400 million in 2020, and then another 5% is 15%, and that's 200. So meaning to say that we need to have a gross additional sales of 600 million ringgit per annum. So based on that, the company has to look into how to achieve this kind of growth. So from the best estimations in terms of our strategic planning is the IT solutions will have two areas that we are looking at: the institutional customer and also the retail customer. The retail consumer customer is where the entire population is, which is talking about 7.7 billion population globally. So if you can set certain percentage of it, that will be very good. It will help in terms of the growth of Serba. So this digital visual park, we are looking at using this technology to bring amusement to the retail community, because they'll be visiting and they have to pay. And on top of that, we want to demonstrate it to people that seeing is believing. How this frontier technology can be used as a means to show that the consumer can gain from it also. And in fact, the digital visual park is more than what people look at on all those entertainment aspects. It also has what we call it as the innovation lab combined together. This is where the startup company comes in. This is where the incubator company comes in. So we are preparing a platform for these people to be introduced into all these technologies. And then, of course, there will be other things like hologram theater. It's a very latest state of art, advanced technology. And all these are evidence of technology which we want to show to the public, so that they can really appreciate. But again, like what I mentioned, there are limitations to everything that we are doing. What we are doing is working out a solution which people can appreciate technology, tapi tidak masuk kepada tahap ianya melalaikan masyarakat. So that is what we are doing, and that is why we enter into all these digital visual park.
Okay, thank you, Dato. Next question from Dr. Roslan Abdullah. How Serba Dinamik cope handle during COVID-19?
We are an organization. Sometimes people say that dalam istilah layman, orang kata Serba Dinamik ni macam orang gila. Why they said that? Because in the COVID situation, in the oil price downturn, we go out to the market to ask for money. We went out for a placement exercise to seek for funds so that we can get additional funding to overcome the possibility of financial shortage during the COVID period, the pandemic COVID-19. And I say, Alhamdulillah, it's a very good experience. And like what I mentioned, if we have the credibility to explain and justify why we need all these things, and we have the track record that we did not cheat people for the investment that they put in, there is sufficient enough liquidity in the market. So based on what we have achieved, I will say that concludes the point that I would like to touch on. So now it goes back to the question from Dr. Roslan regarding this COVID-19. I will have to admit that if it is just normal economic cycle recession, Serba is not really that worried, because we have gone through the past two cycles of recession, and we have managed to position and get out of that recession without much hurt. But this COVID-19 is slightly different. Slightly different in the sense that the MCO, pergerakan manusia yang terbatas ini, tidak dapat membantu di dalam pelaksanaan projek-projek Serba Dinamik yang ada di negara-negara yang berbeza di rantau dunia. But however, we are lucky in the sense that, for example, like those contracts that we have in Africa, in Tanzania, Uzbekistan, in Middle East, all the 6 countries over there, we have sufficient workers stationed over there. And even though now a lot of countries cannot go in, cannot go out, the team is already there to execute the respective contracts. So I was, and myself and my management team was making a statement to the public saying that if the MCO in the context of Malaysia is lifted by end of April, and I would say that we are lucky, it was lifted, but of course there is still limitations in terms of movement, but it's not so bad. We can more or less start back our work projects and so on. And hopefully other states will be able to be lifted, meaning to say that cross border. Karena kalau nak masuk ke East Malaysia susah sikit, sebab you need to be quarantined and all this kind of thing. So it's not that helping in terms of executions of the project that we have in hand at the moment. But whatever it is moving, and I would say that entering masuk ke dalam bulan June, there is a lot of catch up that we need to do lah, supaya lambatkan planning yang kita sepatutnya lakukan dalam bulan Mei, kita kena perkemaskan di dalam bulan Jun. Very high possibility we are going to work 24 hours, breaking into different shifts. So the same thing applies to other countries.
Okay, thank you, Dato. We have only 9 minutes before 5 o'clock. The question from Aina Atira: how should students be prepared for working life in this pandemic?
I would say that first, personality brought up is very important. So what I mean here is, of course, there will be still potential companies which will be looking for graduates. Some are putting it up on the basis of corporate social responsibility, because you cannot totally ban for recruiting graduates, because in the corporate organization we have succession plan, we have corporate social responsibility, and so on and so forth. So there will definitely be openings for graduates. And what is very important for me is how you present yourself when you go for the qualifying interview. So if you have the capability to communicate, and you have the ability to answer the questions that have been forwarded, I strongly believe that that will help. It is when an employer look for employees, it is not per se looking at the results, whether you are first class, you are second class, upper, or you are second class, lower. It actually goes back to a lot of factors. For example, if I interview a candidate, the first thing is I would like to look at the maturity of how they present themselves, and also how they are able to justify and give suggestions to a problem that is given to them. So what I'm trying to say is communication skills is very important. Think out of the box, innovation capability is very important. And then other than that, it's based on how well we are able to answer the necessary question that is given. So don't be too down as if that this pandemic is going to wash out all the potential employment and so on. Life is going back to normal, inshallah, and the economy is going to go back to normal. But of course, everybody has to play the role. And I would say political stability is also very, very important. I hope that those who are hearing this, especially the aspiring politicians and so on, please consider other factors, the importance of the rakyat, which is priority at the moment, reduce down more serious negative politicking. Hopefully, let's join hands to build up our nation, Malaysia.
Okay, Dato. Thank you so much. We have a lot of questions for today, but now this is the last question for you, Dato. From our Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Zain Manan. This is the questions. Jack Ma just said that for business in 2020, it is just sufficient to survive. If you survive, you are already making profit. In your view, Dato, what are the ways for businesses to survive in the threatening major recession due to COVID-19? What advice would you give students as well on how to secure employment, be it employed, self-employed, and starting up business in the ruthlessly challenging near future? It is obvious that Serba Dinamik is also affected. The questions from Professor Zain.
Very good question, very good challenging to give an answer which can please people. If I talk to my analysts and if I talk to my investor that it will only be the best that we can achieve is more or less the same as last year, then I think they will show us a very tower face. Muka yang tidak begitu gembira. But whatever it is, for us in Serba Dinamik, we have already worked out a business model which has taken into the issues of sustainability. Sustainability is very important in terms of business, but besides the sustainability, of course, the investor, the shareholders, they will look at growth every year. So in our context, we are making a statement that upon discussion with my management team, we will have a growth for 2020. The normal growth that we are looking at is 15 to 20%. If we cannot achieve 15%, we will still be able to look at a growth of 10%. We are working very hard on that, and we believe that it can be done. And how can that be achieved? Goes back to the fundamental business model when we have set up the company. Like what I mentioned, Serba Dinamik is a company that is set up based on the very strong fundamentals way back more than 24 years ago. It is not a company that is set up based on political connections and cables that we have with people in the region. It's a company set up with proven track record. It's a company set up with proven technology that we have in place. And we also collaborate with a lot of other enterprises which has technology. And we also collaborate with other local institutes, one of which is Institute Technology Malaysia. And we have even have overseas collaboration up to Institute in Stanford Institute in California. And based on all these things, we are still optimistic that we should, inshallah, be able to overcome the pandemic of COVID-19. The details, I think we need to sit down to lay out, to support my statement.
Okay, thank you, Dato. We are running out of time for now. Without further ado, Murni pass over to Yang Berbahagia Dato' Dekan for closing. Selamat berbuka puasa, Dato'. Yang Berbahagia Dato' Dekan, over to you.
Okay, Dato' Karim, a very big thank you from us at the Faculty of Engineering for spending some of your precious time with us today. I'm sure that you are extremely busy with your daily commitments. We at UTM are very honored to have our own alumni leading such an extremely successful business venture. And we hope that we will have more collaborations with you and Serba Dinamik in the future. And to all of you watching this webinar, thank you very much. we have arranged many more CEOs to share their experience in our effort to build the nations post COVID-19. So tomorrow we will have Dr. Rizal from Nano Malaysia, CEO of Nano Malaysia, to share his experience with us. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Yeah, like, comment, and share. Yeah, our
Okay.
Facebook. So thank you again, Dato' Karim.
Ya, terima kasih banyak Dato' Prof. Look forward to see you in person.
InsyaAllah, insyaAllah. InsyaAllah.
Ya,
Terima kasih semua.
sama-sama. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.